Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out.
Hey Paul, I'm Patrick.
Oh,
Hey,
sorry.
it's hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. He's Paul, I'm Patrick, and we're trying a different stream organization tonight. So we're going to be a little bit rusty or a little bit clunky at first,
Yeah,
but after that, I think you'll notice quality has improved. Quality has improved. So
hopefully.
Paul, let's do an audio check. Can I still hear you?
I can still hear you, and can you still
Here we
hear
go.
me?
I can indeed. Let's do this Amazon thing then.
Cool, perfect. Yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about some of our best picks from Amazon Prime, which is we've done a little bit different. Patrick has taken the a little bit more US kind of ones.
Yeah, and I can honestly say that pained look in my face, folks, is we both went into this going, right, let's do Amazon. Let's pick, a couple of TV shows, a couple of shows, a couple of movies. And then I lost my temper with how much is not on the US and not in the UK. So every time I put a list together, I then go and try and check it. And depending on what site you check, you'd get bad information. But then I found some good definitive lists, and I'm like, everything I picked is on either only US or only Europe. The amount of stuff that is actually crossover is very, very small. So Paul, we made a small agreement that because that's the case, your movies I think are all on Amazon UK, Europe, whatever we should call that.
Yeah, as much as possible. I thought that they're all on the UK kind of element. So
Yeah, and my movie picks are on US. Now, luckily, my TV picks are all global. So I managed to give up on Scorpion and a bunch of other TV shows I was going to be recommending to you all, and I went for stuff that I know that you can we can all see.
yeah, so hopefully that's which is yeah, and hopefully the UK one. There's nothing on the US one, I guess. I don't know. There's some of them
Yeah,
will be. I know because there's some that are Amazon. Uh, that's going to be Amazon kind of specific, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, some of them are Amazon originals. I don't know what Paul's list is, by the way. He does know what mine is. So the change here is Paul is now driving the ship, which is why things are going to get better. It's also why things are slightly different, and I can't kind of see him the same way I have previously. So I might be reacting to you a little bit differently, Paul. But I do have the fun of now seeing the 30-second delayed stream much larger, and I've realized how much I'm gesticulating with my hands. It, it's a great callback to the start of our channel where the first 5 episodes there was so much of this that it became an in joke.
yeah, there was a period of mime going on. So
YouTube by mine.
that's gonna be fun to rewatch and relive over the next while.
Exactly. So Paul, how are we doing this? You're driving the ship, so I'm gonna be following his direction, folks. Um, Paul, are we starting on movies or TV?
Let's start on TV. So if you want to go first,
Cool. Um, what is my first TV pick, Paul?
oh, I have no idea. I was going to ask you
Oh, okay.
because
Oh, sorry. You're going to pick based on what I say. I'm going to
oh
go
yeah,
for one that definitely goes. Upload. Upload is an Amazon produced show, so it's definitely on Amazon around the world. Thankfully, yay! Now I didn't want to just pick Amazon produced stuff, which is why it caused me such a headache. But this one, I'm happy to. Now remember, just like our Netflix picks and just like our picks on some other streaming services that we'll do in the coming weeks and months, these are not necessarily things that you've never heard of. These are not just hidden gems that no one's ever heard of. Some of these things are going to be stuff you've heard of, but a lot of people never get around to watching. So we're giving shout outs to things that are either overlooked, um, are close to being watched by people, but then nobody ever gets around to them, and things that are essentially worth your time. They may not be the best. It's not necessarily, these are not all 10 out of 10 stone cold classics, but they're definitely worth your time. And that's where Upload comes in for me, Paul. Upload is one of those things. I don't want to give it all away by describing the entire premise, but it's you have to know this much about the show. It's a bit of a social commentary on the idea that when you die, if you have the means, you can get into a digital heaven. You can have your consciousness uploaded just before you die. That way, you can go to a virtual or a digital heaven. And obviously, there's all of the great social media and in-app purchases and in-game purchases, jokes that are abound with that. But there's also the nice angle of it that not everybody's going to the same digital playground. So rich people are going to the nice Lakeview. If you're like myself and Paul and you're only medium wealthy, well, I'd say we're obnoxiously wealthy at times, but that's more just culturally. If you're like us, you go to the lower grade digital heaven if you want to purchase that, and maybe you might have a bit of a data plan where you don't get to use all of the amenities because you're on a bit of a restricted plan. It's by Greg Daniels. Greg Daniels,
Yeah.
you might recognize the name from the American Office, Parks and Recreation. Was involved in lots and lots and lots of other things. Why is this worth your time, Paul? Have you watched this one yet?
I haven't. No, it is on the
Okay.
list, so which is
Okay.
interesting because, as we said, this is more kind of pushing you to start your list and stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, what I would sell it to you as, the premise is interesting, and the jokes that they can make out of that premise, it does lend itself to comedy. It does lend itself to social commentary, but I think where they really nailed it is they build the world really quickly, both the virtual and the real. And when they build it quite well, quite completely. You are on board. There's nothing left on the table that you're like, oh, what's going on there? They do their world building well enough, fast enough that they're able to jump into plots. And when I say plots, I mean there's a love story. There's a bit of a mystery as to how our main character may have ended up passing away. Like there are subplots aplenty, possibly too many, some would say. But
okay,
there's enough in the kind of the 10 or 14 episodes, and they're all about 30 to 40 minutes in duration. I think the average duration is probably 35 minutes or so. It's good sci-fi TV that people won't believe they're watching actual sci-fi because it goes down the other route of kind of telling you a story and not just leaning on the fact that, oh, this is about the sci-fi future that we could all live in. It's more of the, here's some people, here's some situations, and here's a look at how the world is maybe eating itself.
that's an interesting point on it's sci-fi that you won't realize that you're watching. That's cool. Like I gotta
Yeah.
say, that's really awesome in the sense of kind of which goes a lot of good sci-fi's. I like the fact that it doesn't. It takes a little bit of time to reveal or something like that. You know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm gonna close my door. Um Apologies. Yeah, the other thing I will say, Paul, before we move off uploaded, one last thing to push. I don't want to give away too much, but consider the idea that there's a heaven, a digital heaven. That also opens up then the questions of what about people who believe, and not all the people that go to this kind of digital heaven or digital afterlife don't believe in conventional religious heavens or afterlives. So is this a case that if you decide to go digital, that you can then decide to stop being digital and go organic? Or is it a case that only people who are uploaded are people you're going to be able to spend this digital afterlife with? So what if you went, Paul, and I didn't have the money to go to the same one? There would
Yeah.
be no hear us out in the sky or in the clouds.
Oh yeah, it's not a great. I like the idea of once you go digital, can you go organic kind of thing? That's an interesting kind like can you go back, or there's some morality stuff that you also need to consider as
Yeah.
well, kind of stuff, which is really cool.
It zips along though. It's no good place. If you're looking for that, this ain't it. This is its own thing. Um, I'm not a massive proponent of Stephen Amell, the guy from Green Arrow. I don't think he's the greatest actor in the world, but he fits the role well, and the cast of characters around him. I think it all carries itself off nicely. It's one of those things. I'm looking forward to a second season, if for nothing else, because they have so many subplots going. I want to see
Okay.
where they end up with some of them.
Yeah, I like that. I like. Well, sometimes they can get bogged down in their kind of subplot stuff. So,
It's true.
Can't be
It's
hard.
true.
All right. So, how many stars would you give this, Patrick?
Oh crikey, we're doing stars. I'm going to give this one because I want to start. I want to be careful. I'm going to give this three stars. It's definitely worth
Ah.
your time. But I know that other things are going to be mentioned that I want to have a definite jump up from.
See, my thing is that you gave me a picture with 5 stars on it, and I was just
Oh,
like, I wonder if he's gonna give me 5 stars or something. But
good
uh,
point. Good point. The rating picture. I should have remembered that. So there you go. There's one of your in jokes for what would it be like in the afterlife if you could rate every interaction that you have too. Um, look, there's so much to this that I don't kind of want to go into it any further. If you haven't, or if you watched the trailer and thought, "Nah," which is what I did, I was like, I'm never going to watch that. Then I ended up watching it. I was like, I'm really glad I did. Most people seem to have skipped it, at least most Europeans.
yeah, no, yeah, it's been on my list, and I think Mr. Robot maybe stole it from me or something like that, but I'm not sure. So I better take a look at that kind of thing. We have 2 comments, which is Kevin says, "Got to be the boys as top pick." I don't. Yeah, see the boys is not on my list, and it's not because it's like not a gem. It's just very popular right now, and
Yeah,
if you haven't watched it, watch it. But it's too
yeah.
popular. These are kind of more sideline stuff that is on your list that you haven't gone to.
On this channel alone, Paul, we've talked about the boys at least 8 times. So no, the boys doesn't fit the category, unfortunately, because I would pick it as a top pick if it wasn't just trying to give people stuff that they may have missed.
Hmm.
Because it is awesome, but nobody's really missed the boys. It got well supported and well advertised.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so on to my pick, which I have
Yes.
organized in such a weird way. Um, so I have picked Farscape. Um, the reason I chose Farscape is because it's on Amazon Prime right now. I know that it's on the UK one, but it is probably one of the underrated sci-fi kind of space um, shows. And if you're a fan of sci-fi or you want to check out sci-fi more, which because Farscape is one of the best series. All of the seasons are up on Amazon Prime, which because it's just a great sci-fi, and not enough people have watched it. In my opinion,
Is Claudia Black in that? Who went on to be
yes,
in with the other one of the other lead actors? They both ended up in Stargate.
yep. Uh,
Stargate, one of Atlantis.
no, Stargate
No.
SG-1,
Okay,
which is the main guy in this, which is Crichton takes over from Jack O'Neill in
that's
Stargate.
right.
Obviously, he's not Crichton. But Claudia Black also joins them in a later kind of series as well, where she's attached to Jack or to Daniel Jackson.
Yeah,
I'm a
and
big
it
nerd
kills
with.
me because I really like those. Like I like all the Stargate years,
Hmm.
but I really like those two actors.
Yeah,
Um, and I've never got round to watching Farscape, so shame on me.
it's got such a. It's something like 6 seasons of just really nice characters and stuff like that. So it goes into a lot of depth on things. So I can't say more than you like. If it isn't on your list, put it on your list. If it is on your list, just dive right in. Like it's just a fantastic kind of like sci-fi show, that I don't think gets enough love in any kind of fashion. So
That's cool.
there you go.
Well, you're getting support in the chat from Pop Culture. By the way, Pop Culture, you mentioned Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I watched the first season and enjoyed it, and never went back. Funny enough, haven't seen Hannah yet. Mozart in the Jungle was also good, but Farscape says loves Farscape, but it's not streaming on anything right now. Used to be on Netflix. Want to watch it with my son. Then this is our point with Amazon, made very very clearly. Amazon's a pain in the neck for what's on each side of the ocean. So there's going to be recommendations in here that you may have to pick up somewhere else, even on DVD. Good old physical media.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. No, you're back. Don't worry.
cool.
So
So
yes,
yeah,
what is your next pick?
I'm gonna go into movies. Will we swap TV show, movie TV show, or do you want to do the? Okay,
Yeah, that sounds good.
then I'm going to say The Big Sick, Paul, because The Big Sick is a movie that I went to this. I know we've talked about this on the channel, but it would have been
Yeah.
way back at the start because I had to go out of my way to find a screening in Ireland to
Yeah.
go to see this in a physical cinema. I remember talking to you about the ordeal I had to try and make sure there were so few screens showing it and there were so few showings. And my wonderful partner was like, we're going to a lot of effort here, but you believe that this movie will be good. And I'm like, I believe this movie will be good. Now, I went in with that kind of level of expectation. I came out going, wow, that was a hell of a lot better than I expected.
Wow.
So it was good in my head. It was great in actuality. It's again not going to spoil the story because it's one of those things that I don't really think it'll help the movie. Put
No.
it this way, Kumail Nanjiani, before he was famous, made this movie. It's loosely based or based on real life events or some real life events, but it's a story of a guy and a girl getting together and falling in love and then facing some hardship. And part of that hardship means that he has to spend a lot of time with her family, um, not necessarily with her. And because he's from Pakistan and she's, just good old USA, there's a clash of cultures there, but they don't fart around with the cultural differences thing. They don't try and turn it into, "Oh, this is our heavy moment." There are enough heavy things happening through this story that they actually treat that with a lot of respect, and they treat it with a lot of what I think is the best way to deal with these kind of get this sort of narrative across comedy.
Hmm.
So it shows the pressures he's under from his family. It shows the pressures and misunderstandings from another family from another culture. I really enjoyed it. It's done with such a deft and light touch that it moves along brilliantly. Um, if I had to if I had to put it up there with anything, it's all heart. Like if you can think of a movie that you just go in and it makes you feel, but doesn't forget that it's a lighthearted romantic comedy at its core. It makes you feel for the characters involved. It's
Yeah.
all heart and it's brilliantly executed.
There was there's some interesting there's like sideline characters in it as well, isn't there? Like some famous
There's a bunch of
comedians.
comedians. Yeah, actually, you know what? If it was being done today, it would be called The Big Sick, featuring A.D. Bryant from SNL and Bo Burnham from now massive Bo Burnham fame. But back then, it was just people like me going, "Daddy, Bo Burnham's in it. This is great." When people didn't know him as well as they do now, and same thing for A.D. Bryant from SNL. So there again. There is there's part of the story is that Kumail Nanjiani's character, matching the real life, wants to be a comedian.
Oh.
Um, so there's stories of his struggles there, but it's more as part of a backdrop for his relationship with this with his, I can't say anything because I might ruin the story, with the woman that he's romantically interested in. Um, and it plays out really, really well. It's done with a lot more art than you think a film of this size and budget could be done.
Hmm. Okay.
Like this is my top recommendation, which is why
Oh.
something else had to get 3 stars because this one
Uh,
is five. It's
well,
5 stars all the way.
that's completely understandable. Like, I haven't gotten to see this yet, so I'm now going to. This is going to be one of the top things on my list, I think. You know?
Get your hands on it. You will love it.
Okay.
You'll be back going, excellent. It's a completely me film, Paul. So you'll be like, see why you love it, but you'll still love it too.
Okay. I'll definitely take a look at it. Because I love some of the characters. Like you sent me the imagery beforehand, and I took a look at it, and I was just seeing the comedians involved, and I was just like, I don't understand why I haven't seen this yet.
And Ray Romano, by the way, Ray Romano and Holly Hunter play parents of one of the couple. Ray
Oh,
Romano is incredible in this movie. Incredible. Where has Ray Romano been hiding this our entire lives? Like, don't get me wrong, everybody loves Raymond and all that stuff is great, but he's genuinely brilliant in this movie.
oh, like yeah, yeah. He's been disappearing for a bit,
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
which goes. All right, so we'll go on to my next pick, which
Hmm.
goes, and I'll just
I'm
quickly check
getting a
here.
couple of comments in. Big Sick was
Yeah, go for
great.
it.
Big Sick was a lovely movie. MGTV says Boys and Invincible are the only good shows in Prime. Well, if you were watching at the start, mm, respectfully disagree, but also imagine if you had US Prime, then you'd have loads of stuff you love because I guarantee you, whatever you have on Prime in the UK, the exact opposite stuff is what they have in the US. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
time
find.
to do our VPN sponsorship again, Paul.
Yeah. Nord, no. I disagree. The Boys Invincible are great, but there's a lot of stuff up there that's actually really, really good. Which is one of my top picks for movies is if you are looking for your next psychopath movie, and like you've missed Seven or you want some reminiscence of Halloween kind of thing. This classic film, which I believe we have talked before about, I think in the past, it is The Bone Collector.
Yes.
Which goes with Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie. It's an interesting classic '90s. Like I think it was done in 1996 or 1999, between that period. Kind of like psycho kind of film. Which is it's just a good classic kind of like who did it, who's the murderer, kind of like how are they going to figure it all out? And then on top of that, the relationship between Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington's characters are just fantastic, kind of thing. Especially with the surprise that Denzel Washington isn't the essentially action star of this film; he is the intelligence. He is also bedbound; he cannot move, which goes. So he's like a Sherlock Holmes character who because Sherlock Holmes doesn't really get his hands dirty as much as people think he might. But yeah, it's a great classical kind of film. If people haven't even gotten to watch it, then it's up on Amazon Prime. I know for the UK, so get a look at it. It's just a classic kind of horror film. Who did it stuff? So
I'm with you on that completely. That's such a great pick. And remember, folks, I haven't seen Paul's picks. It's a fantastic pick. It is one of those really overlooked movies. It fits the bill of this. It's one of those things that people either think they have seen and they haven't, or are like, oh, I might watch it someday. It is. It's a great pick. It's not going to win 17 Oscars,
no.
but it's a brilliant movie in its own right. Yeah, and I think I don't do my Denzel Washington impression very often, but the thing that I do to make my wife laugh sometimes is I'll do my Denzel. Okay. In every movie, at some point, he will enthusiastically agree with somebody slightly sarcastically, and I know he does that in The Bone Collector. I can't remember what scene. I just know he's done it in there somewhere.
Yeah. He does do that. He does it on Unstoppable, the train film as well. So
Okay.
So yeah, but it's just it's a film that I think
it's a
just doesn't get enough recognition at all. So
Yeah, great pick.
Patrick.
So back to TV. I'm going to kick in with the rather unexpected Gymkhana Files.
Okay.
Now this one, folks, is the hardest to explain on the list as to why I would say it's missing. By the way, this is a global pick. It's on both UK and US Amazon Prime Video. I know that everybody's assuming I like this because I'm into cars. Weirdly, no, not in this case, because this isn't the end of cars that I'm into. I'm not necessarily into tire shredding, super smoky burnout stuff. Don't get me wrong, we've all got it in us. We were all 16 once. But this one, Paul, and the reason I think you would enjoy this one, and this is a specific pick for my YouTube friends and anybody who's ever tried to make something with a camera. This is not the Gymkhana series, which for anybody who doesn't know what that is, there's a guy called Ken Block. He's become famous thanks to this. He did some spinny, donutty, cool car acrobatic stuff, and it made him famous about 12 years ago. Ever since then, they've been releasing Gymkhana videos, and they are some of the biggest videos on the internet.
Yeah.
But this is the story of making those types of videos. They're doing their 10th anniversary, so they started documenting themselves. It's about the beautiful locations they go to. It's about the type of people they are. It's about the tension that they can have between them. But more than anything else, it's about the logistics of trying to do something like this, and also the realities that what the final product on screen is very different than the process that went into getting that to appear on screen. Even when you have something like this where they don't use special effects, all the cars are real, all the near misses are real, everything is real, but yet the preparation and effort, post production, pre production, scouting, and everything involved, I just really enjoyed it. I thought I'd never get around to watching this because yeah, I love cars. This isn't my thing though. I absolutely loved it because it was more about the cameras, more about the planning, more about the locations, and also about to get a human to manage to pull that off in a car. They don't do it first time, no matter how good they are.
Yeah.
And some of those things you don't get to have too many mistakes. So there's a definite sense of the actual danger, and whether or not, as Ken Block's getting older, he still wanted to put himself in that danger. So there's a lot of angles to something that seems like documentary about YouTube car hooligans, or hoonigans as they're known. It's a bit more to it than that. I really enjoyed it.
Like yeah, like I didn't know anything about this the show until you pointed it out to me, and then you also sent these fantastic gifs of like I do like the train one. The train one's probably my favorite one so far, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just yeah, because as you said, it's not done by graphics or anything like that. So it's just a high speed camera, 4K to 8K kind of thing, and it's just beautifully shot. Which good. Now I know that probably the GIFs don't give the kind of quality justice, so it just makes me want to go see it even more, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So,
and if you're into Americana, Paul, which I am, and don't get me wrong, they go around the world doing this stuff, but there's a lot of old, like even just that jump in front of the train for us Europeans. That's a very iconic American kind of intersection with a train. We don't have that. They go to cities, they go to rural areas. It's beautiful in places. It's genuinely just beautiful in places too. So sometimes it's nice to watch something that's pouring some good juice in your eyes.
Yeah, like the LA Aqueduct one, that looks really interesting. Just because it's the LA Aqueduct. Like it's very famous from every single from a large amount of movies. So it's nice to see them even shoot there and just see what they can do there, kind of thing. So
and there's so much more just like that. So much of it is iconic for us. So yeah, you will find yourself going, I wonder, is that the location from X and Y film as well? It's quite cool.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Also, couldn't there was definitely not going to be a car one on us. I'll be honest with you. When Amazon Prime have a lot of kind of good car kind of esque ones. So yeah. So
Sure.
on to my next pick. I decided to do if you're missing Nathan Fillion,
Which I am.
then look no further than Castle.
I almost picked Castle, and I'm not
did
messing
you?
around. I almost my last pick, and you know what it is, and others will see in a minute. There was a choice between it and Castle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I've chosen the one that we can both
The
agree,
other.
kind of thing. Yeah. Which goes, Castle's a fantastic show. Just Nathan Fillion plays a murder mystery writer, and because of his expertise, he is somehow looped into helping with crime. Literally, this from there on
It's a thin and tenuous opening pilot plot kind of conceit that they build, but it's so delightful after that.
Oh, just anything with Nathan Fillion, especially when he plays essentially himself, kind of thing. Like they definitely gave him a lot, kind of freedom in this one, kind of thing. And the secondary characters are all fantastic. Which is I can't the two detectives that are kind of help the investigations and stuff like that, and they're constantly railing kind of what is he doing here, and then constantly being proven wrong by him. It's fantastic. His mother is great.
You can stop right end of video. That's the takeaway from this. If you're going to watch Castle for no other reason, his mother's awesome.
Yeah, it's just some of the lines that she comes out like that she delivers are just so good, kind of thing. This is a fun. It's a fun move, like fun TV show, which you get to watch kind of to get your Nathan Fillion. It's not gonna once again, it's not gonna break any banks or anything like that. I really enjoyed guessing a lot of the stuff, because it's a lot of it is also trying to be based on kind of like murder mystery tropes and stuff like that. That it's been really, really enjoyable to kind of even just play the guessing game of what's going on. So I can't like it's just a really good kind of classical like show. Can I ask you? Did you consider putting Charmed on your list?
I did toy with the.
Yeah.
I think we both ended up having a lot of the same thoughts around those TV shows that are not all-time great works of art, but are being rapidly forgotten and don't get enough credit for how good they really just were. Because let's face it, people still talk about Buffy and Angel and all that.
Yeah.
So people are keeping that alive.
Yeah.
But something like Castle or Charmed, which I also did look at, or my pick, which I guess we should do. We should finish out in TV in a moment because we may as well continue on to it. But they're particularly Castle. Oh God, it's such a good pick for that reason. Nobody's going back and watching Castle now. If you didn't catch it the first time round, nobody's doing it, and they really should.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's because I know that Nathan Fillion's like latest show, The Rookie, is really really good, but it's not. It's not. It's weirdly not Nathan Fillion. Like this is Nathan Fillion, kind of like like Freedom, like
Fun and charm.
yeah, like he has fun and charm in The Rookie as well. But it's just he plays more of a character than he normally does. Because like, what is this? Him in Firefly and stuff like that. It's more him, and this is more him kind of thing. So, The Rookie.
The
and a
man
couple
has
others.
swagger, so never tame that man's swagger is what I say, and I think Castle is the purest expression of that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So, yeah. So your next pick
I
for
sure
TV.
will we get the TV out? So my last pick for TV is House. House MD, which Paul, you can see from the conversation we just had. I'm picking it for the same sort of reason as Castle. Okay, it may be more famous, but it's been a long enough time ago. You'd be surprised how many people that didn't catch it the first time round or caught a little bit of it don't really give it much of a chance. They're like, oh, is that not just a formulaic show about, a wisecracking doctor with a limp? Yes. Yes, it is. You've just described its genius. It has a formula, and
Mm-hmm.
it runs that formula every week very well because it's a detective show where the detective is a doctor using his Sherlock Holmes style detective powers to work out what's wrong with the patient. And of course, this first three things, you can look at the timeline of the show and go, well, they haven't guessed it right yet, or if they have, they've cast that guess aside, and it's going to be the one at the end going, it was the first thing we said. That's definitely what it was.
Yeah.
But it's just really well made. Like it's genuinely for its time. It's quite well made. And an awful lot of people will say, "Oh, they use some dodgy, early CGI to show insides of bodies and things like that." You get over that really, really quickly. Fun little cast of characters, but Hugh Laurie he steals the show with some of the most natural, acerbic wit that I think has ever been shown in a natively American TV show. Because he's an English guy playing it as an American, but there's a style of humor that he delivers that you don't see traditionally in American TV shows. We would have got it a lot and grown up with it a lot in Ireland and the UK.
Yeah.
It's an amazing mix when you get the brilliance of American production values. The writing is just absolutely top notch, but then his delivery, it's cherry on the cake.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can't. For the only reason I didn't think about this one was I thought it might be yeah. You're right in the sense that it's kind of going into the weeds of it was huge and then it's now because it's now distancing through time kind of thing that it's going out. And I think so I didn't consider this one, but now that you said about the distancing, it definitely makes sense because me and my partner started rewatching it like half a year ago or so. Could she hasn't seen the eighth season.
Oh, right
So
there, the end.
Yeah, so like we were just like, oh, we'll go through it then, kind of thing. Um, I can also say that the cast, the rotating cast and stuff like that as they go on and stuff like that are absolutely fantastic, as you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah, it's like I think Castle is the better pick when it comes to kind of the overlooked part. But the reason I kind of wanted to give House a shout is because it's actually longer than you'd think since it ended. There are people who've been born since it ended that are probably, of the right age to be watching this video now,
hmm.
which is scary when you're any of us that have to think of that. Time's passing really quickly, Paul.
uh,
Oh no, he's gone. So what was your last or your next TV pick then?
which good. So well,
Was it Charmed?
it's not. Sadly, it's not. But it is a show which I have found and loved, and also because I feel like I always have to add in an animated show. It is Lower Decks, um,
I know what this is.
which is just a jokey, funny thing of like the lower deck crew members of a Star Trek starship. Like these are like the not the best and brightest. Some of them are. I will say that the crew that they have are quite like diverse and stuff like that. Some of them are very very nerdy, but just because of naturality and stuff like that, they're a little bit more kind of clumsy than they're like I guess more known like crew members like Picard and Geordi and stuff like that. You know, but it's just a fun. It's still set in the Star Trek universe. It's just a little bit of a joke kind of thing, which is great. That's just one of the great things about this. So if you love Star Trek and you're kind of like finishing off everything and you don't have anything else to do, then yeah, Lower Decks. You know.
Most people love Star Trek, right? Now, look, I hands up, I have not seen one single frame of this, and not a bit of it. But that's not because not for any good reason, let's say. And the idea of taking a show or a franchise at this stage that is as well storied and as well loved and is the epitome of, great sci-fi between the original series, Next Generation, Voyager, etc., and Deep Space. I love the idea of just having fun.
Yeah.
Like there's a gap in everything to just have fun. The darkest, the most serious, the most scientifically accurate, no matter what you're doing, if you're able to produce it as art, you can also produce it as a bit of comedy and a bit of fun and a little bit of irreverence. So I'm down with it. If I haven't checked it out, but now that you've recommended it, I guess I better. I'm
It's
glad
just
it's worth it though, because hey, why not have a bit of crack in the Star Trek universe?
that's it. Like it's just a little bit of fun. It's just some drunk, like some of them are just like drunken idiots kind of thing. Like so, it's just a little, it's just comedy. Also one of the characters is voiced by the Huey from The Boys. So that's also kind of good connection towards The Boys again. You know.
Cool.
What is your next movie?
Okay, next movie, and I'd just like to call out some of the comments
Yeah, go for it.
before I throw it up because I know Castle going to mention there. Uh, Castle was part of a wave of cop shows that have non-cops help the cops solve crimes, sort of thing. There was like 20 of them in the States. Yeah, I remember that was the thing. And yeah, you didn't catch Castle, but you will now.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
definitely it's one of the better ones. It separates itself.
yeah, the only ones that I know are Castle, Psych, and Medium. I think it is. I think they're the only three that I know about that were any good.
Yeah, I think with the White Collar, I think it was called, where a con man helps a cop. And then there's, well, the Blacklist doesn't really count. But I think,
Blacklist
yeah,
is
there
great.
was one or two that were kind of okay. Blacklist actually could make one of our lists at some stage.
Mm.
The other thing, Love House, great show. Sherlock of medical drama.
Mm.
Well put. Now, One Night in Miami is a great movie. Funny you should say that. It almost made my movie picks. It didn't for a very specific reason. I like it. I don't think it's been overlooked.
Mm.
Um, and it's rare, but obviously it was awards contender and all sorts of things. I know a lot of people haven't seen it. Maybe I almost considered including it because a lot of people have heard of it. It's very recent, but how many people have actually followed through and watched it? I don't know yet.
That was my problem with this one as well, because I was also considering putting it on my list, but I also was just like, no, because I've heard a lot about this movie, so like,
Yeah,
I don't think it deserves like, not that it doesn't deserve to be on the list, but it's more that this is a list about kind of like things that have gone under the radar or are
yeah.
teetering on your list, which it could possibly now that I think about it, like,
Same for me. Now that I think about it, it might actually be being. I watched it when it was released, let's say, or when it showed up on the platform. Within 24 hours, I think I'd watched it.
hmm,
But yeah, I wonder, would it really have qualified if I think hard? Did everybody do that? Is it just that it was talked about a lot but not actually watched? I must go back and find the stats. I'm sure they're out there.
yeah, I must, yeah, because I did the same. Once I heard about it, I immediately went and watched it, kind of thing. So
Well, I better give you my next pick then, Paul, because it's not that. It couldn't almost be further from it in some ways because it's not recent. It's old. I like old movies.
yes,
That's one of the problems I have with the European or UK variant of Amazon Prime. Anything before 2001 is difficult to find realistically in a movie sense. There are some, but not that many. Whereas the US has a much better selection. And I picked Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid because that is one of the most famous movies ever made. Everybody's heard of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
yeah,
Now walk into a room of 100 people today and ask everybody who's under the age of 40, have you actually watched it?
yeah,
And you will find the answer is going to be 90% or maybe even more no. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those people. That's the way it should always be. It's the way it's always going to be. But
hmm,
this episode that we're doing right now is a chance for me to go, everybody, just in case you missed it,
hmm,
this is one that you can appreciate today, and it does not feel like an old movie. It does not feel like it was made, okay, clothing and a few other things. It's made in period, but its production values are, its quality is so high. It could have been made in the last 10, 15 years. And that's not even the best thing about it. I think the best thing about I was about to say the best thing about it is, and my brain kind of went, don't say that. There's so many good things. But there's, between Robert Redford and Paul Newman, the interplay, the dialogue, the looks, the cheeky nods and winks, the affection and jealousy that they grow for each other through the story, it brings you along really well. Like there's no two ways about it. This film is a classic for a reason,
hmm,
and they are part of the reason. It's not just that it was so well made. A lot of people say, well, are they even really the most important thing about it because it's so, it was such a high value production. Yeah, they still really are. There's a love story. There's again a couple of undercurrents of they're on the run, and just the smallest thing of one of the one of the guys that's chasing them is only ever really seen as this figure in the distance with his posse, and there's the running joke of, God, does that guy ever give up? It's
yeah,
little things like that that are they're comedy without being comedic, and it's just great. Okay, there's some weird stuff in there. There's the raindrops keep falling on my head scene, as people call it,
yeah,
with the bicycle. Um, Personally, I really enjoy it because I think it plays to the tone of the film that it's a bit kooky or a bit
hmm,
wacky in places. Um, it's not a film that everybody's going to love, but I think it's a film that almost everybody will really like a lot.
you get you, yeah. Like I remember watching this and really enjoying that film. So like, I can't say that it's like, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't have seen this film. I only saw it by chance, so
There you go.
like, I think I was trying
And,
to.
and sorry, go on.
I thought I was just trying to. I think I was trying to see another film, and by accident watch this one. And when I got to the end of it, I was just like, that was not what I thought it was. And then I looked it up, and I was just like, nope, okay. I watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Still a great film, but
Yeah. And their chemistry's great. There's lots of good things about it. If you ask most people who have seen it, when was it made? They go, oh, I don't know. Was that made mid 70s, late 70s? Because it was made in the late 60s,
well,
and you wouldn't think it's as old as it is. It's just every time I watch it, and I watch it, once every 3 4 years. I've seen it quite a few times. I enjoy it just as much as the last time. Like it is one of those repeat watch, repeat enjoyables. If you've never seen it and you watch it and enjoy it, it's a high likelihood you'll watch it again sometime.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely get you. I was just, yeah, no, that's a really good pick. I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, good.
When I
Because
saw
I
it,
can
because when I
I can
saw
see
it,
Bruce just mentioned raindrops keep falling on my head. That has overshadowed the movie unfairly because the amount of people that know that scene and have never seen the movie, it's really out of context in a lot of ways.
a scene that may have been seen more times than.
That's
Uh,
that's foreshadowing for a future episode of some YouTube channel that shall not be named right now.
well, I better go on. and
Yeah. So what is your next pick,
okay,
Paul?
so actually, I funny enough missed my movie one that was meant to be before Lower Decks, which is one that I think we've talked about before. It was Chaos Walking. This is
Yeah.
this is the Tom Holland film about
Yeah.
like men's kind of inner thoughts and stuff like that are projected onto kind of a like holographic kind of hallucinogenic kind of thing
Thought bubble.
on this planet kind of thing, and then Daisy Redling's or Ridley's character, which just comes down, and she's the only woman, which is that Tom Holland has seen, which is and her chaos is which is not there. There's no there, so it's a bit of a kind of like what the hell's going on kind of thing.
So is it good?
This is interesting.
Like it's on this list, so you're saying it's good, but the reason I haven't seen it is because I was really pumped for the idea, and then it went through that development hell period, which is one of the reasons we talked about it. And then when it was released, there was so little said, and it was kind of almost released under the cover of darkness. I was like, oh, is that thing rubbish? Is that why they're trying to? Are they hiding the stinky fart behind the cushion? Like, is that what this is?
This is the thing. I took the dive in the same sense because I was just like, I gotta have a look at this film because like it hasn't come up or anything like that. Like the same thing. Like everybody heard about Tom Holland kind of getting into this film kind of thing, and I was just like, but we haven't heard anything about it since, kind of thing. So I dived right in, and it's an enjoyable watch. It's not the best thing in the world, like kind of thing. I am definitely like if I saw this in the cinema, I'd probably be a little bit more pissed off than watching it randomly on a streaming service kind of thing that I already pay for.
There's a comment that matches that from pop culture.
I was just gonna say that I also matched. I just saw that with pop culture as well. That I like. Yeah, it's a good film. It's an interesting concept kind of thing. It's got some hidden elements to it which are really really good. Which is it's a good thing to watch before you see Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, kind of thing.
Okay.
Just because he's a little bit more of an adventurer, or like not an adventurer kind of thing. He is still kind of like, he's kind of like a redneck frontier kind of person.
He's outdoorsy.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like his personality is a lot different than Nathan Drake, but the physical acting and stuff like that is good because it gets you it'll get you into the whole kind of like Nathan Drake and Uncharted kind of territory. But I definitely think people should take a look at it, which is it's an interesting concept. It could make a list at some point of premises that were good, but may not have done the best that it could have been.
Gotcha. So it's in time. Okay.
Yeah.
Then if I was to say, could it make another list of cute dogs in movies? Because I remember the trailer. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely will watch it then. Because I'm a sucker for adorable animals. No, they don't. Okay, we won't spoil it for anyone, but I've just worked out something from a face that Paul pulled, and he knows how I feel about that. I know that movies are fictional, but
I'm going to go on to your next pick.
Yeah. Last note on Chaos Walking. I think it's almost unrealistic that somebody released a film with Daisy Ridley from Star Wars and Tom Holland who's Spider-Man, and it went under everybody's radar.
I
That's an impressive feat.
this is the other thing is I was watching it and going like, who is this girl? Who is this female actress? Because I definitely know her from something. And then like I looked it up and I was just like, that is, how did I not know that Daisy Ridley from Star Wars like is in another, like is in this film? And like no one I know has talked about it. Not even that it's bad or anything like that. Just no
not at
one.
all.
So like I enjoyed it very much, which because, but I said it's definitely not going to make any kind of like, you know, fantastic Golden Globes or Oscar-esque things. I definitely understand why it went under the radar, but it's definitely worth a watch, I think.
Well, I will give it that watch. Because I take these lists away and they go into my list of things to watch. So that will actually. Um, I'm not just on this channel, folks. I'm a consumer of it too. It's great. I get to. That's why doing it with Paul's great. I get to watch him do YouTube. I just happen to be here. Um, the last pick for me is okay. Paul, Young Frankenstein. I was going to play the stupid game of name a Mel Brooks film because most people would say Blazing Saddles,
Mm-hmm.
or Spaceballs,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, or whatever, or whatever. Young Frankenstein, everybody, or Frankenstein, if you will, everybody goes, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, yeah, but have you ever watched it? They're like, I've seen the putting on the Ritz scene. Yeah, a lot of people have seen this movie in clips. Essentially, they may not have seen the whole thing as an actual story. And as much as it is a comedy that doesn't rely too heavily on its narrative, um, it's great. It is Mel Brooks, who was at the height of his powers, let's say, but it's Gene Wilder showing why he is and was Mel Brooks's muse in many ways. They'd done the producers together, they'd done Blazing Saddles together, that they worked together so much.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a Gene Wilder masterpiece. It's a Mel Brooks film, but it's a Gene Wilder masterpiece. And the rest of the cast that are in there, like, I don't want to start waxing on about just how brilliant everybody in it is. This is one, if you missed it, you should watch it because you will laugh.
Yeah.
And at no point will you be worrying about, well, is the messaging here problematic? Is it okay to like this today? And I'm not saying that people shouldn't have social consciences, but this isn't one of those older films that is just riddled with oh God, I don't know how I feel about this. It's a Dracula, or not a Dracula, it's a Frankenstein. Yeah, weird. I went sideways there. It's a Frankenstein spoof, essentially, in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more. And there are little gags that they'll just stay with you for the rest of the night if you watch it. They'll stay with you the rest of the week. And then a year later, someone will say, like, put the candle back. And you'll be like, oh, God, yeah, that scene. It is the gift that keeps on giving. And if performance is your thing, watch Gene Wilder make being loud funny, but watch him make being quiet funny. And Terry Garr and Madeline Kahn and all of the other cast, this is one of the most exceptionally strong female casts a comedy has ever had. Actually, maybe it just is, if I ever tried to think of it. And when I say female cast, I mean traditionally back when they were making movies, they were male-led at this stage. My God, the strength of the female cast in Young Frankenstein is something to be reckoned with.
There's
just great.
There's several scenes I definitely think that the female cast which could steal the show from,
yes,
kind of thing, which is just great. But yeah, no, I like, if you're a comedy fan and you haven't watched Young Frankenstein, then you're not a comedy fan until you watch it. Like, I'm sorry, kind of thing. It is one of the best classic films of comedy ever. And like, I've seen this film plenty of times. I also got to see it live, played in London, and oh man, it was just, I think it was Ross Noble was played
the Igor character.
Igor.
All right, sorry, Igor.
Yeah, kind of thing. So like, which was just fantastic.
The Marty Feldman character. That's fantastic. I would love. I'm so jealous. We'll be talking about this after this episode ends. I want to hear about that.
It was great, kind of thing. I got it on a whim, kind of thing, with a bunch of friends. They were just like, I think Young Frankenstein's on, and I was like, let's go. So
There you go.
it's great kind of thing. Yeah, so that is a fantastic pick.
And you can guess how many stars I'd give this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is
All of them. It's
where
all
is
of
it?
them.
Where
Let's
is
not
it?
mess with numbers.
Where is it? 5 stars.
It's 5 plus.
Okay.
There you go.
We should just have that on the kind of thing.
Oh, there you go. There you
Um,
go.
okay, so my last pick. So I have one to mention, kind of thing, but my last pick, because I know that we're running out of time. This will not take long. Believe me, it is Space Truckers. This film is so bad. It is so good. It's such a good film. It's so bad. It is a sci-fi spoof film kind of thing. It's got so many weird people in it that you just don't think are going to be in this kind of film, but they're there, kind of thing. So, but it's just a stupid sci-fi film kind of thing.
It really is. And
Like,
it's wonderful.
yeah, it's up on Amazon Prime, which cause it is a stupid ranch across the universe kind of thing, completely stupid. It's got full on kind of set pieces and everything like that, which are just fantastic. The cast is so weirdly like they went on to some really good movies, and to know that they're in this is kind of just like wow, okay.
Yeah.
So
What can I say? Dennis Hopper has done a lot of substances,
yeah.
and possibly while reading scripts, and he's like, yeah, you know what? Space Truckers and Waterworld. I want that on my IMDb
Yeah.
page along with everything else, please. It's yeah, what a great pick, and that is from the depths of beyond. That's why I got so excited.
Mm.
I would not have thought of that if you'd asked me to sit here for the next 3 weeks. I wouldn't have thought of it. I'm so glad that you pulled that one. That's awesome.
Just a stupid film, sci-fi,
Yep.
great adventure, fantastic.
There you
Do you have any honorable mentions? I have one
No,
honorable
no,
mention.
I'll leave it with I'll leave it to you now because I think you've just hit the top note for me with Space Truckers.
So my honorable mention, which has come out which goes recently, is Wheel of Time, which goes. It is a plug. It is a plug, and I know that I know that it's a new thing, and I know lots of people are going to watch it. But I really want to push people into this. If you love high fantasy with classic spell casting and proper kind of adventuring and stuff, and you're missing it from Game of Thrones or from Lord of the Rings or anything like that, go see The Wheel of Time. Start watching it now. It's fantastic. It's not for any SEO purposes. It's definitely because it's actually a really I read through the series and stuff like that of the books. I got really excited about this. I watched the 3 episodes and it's just glorious kind of thing. It's just classic high fantasy.
Well, Paul, you started that statement with a question, which was, if you're into high fantasy and spellcasting and all that stuff, I could have stopped you and gone, no, I really amn't. It's so not my end of things. But two things right now. You've recommended it, and I think we all know that I rate the lead actress on the poster.
Yeah.
It's Rosamund Pike, isn't it? I rate her so incredibly highly that if she does something, I assume it's worth watching. So I am all set for this to be right up my street, even though it's not traditionally in my wheelhouse.
Pop culture just went Wheel of Time versus Foundation. I have some problems actually with Foundation. The cracks are slowly to appear that I was worried about. So, Wheel of Time hasn't showed those cracks yet. So I'm gonna still go for Foundation because Wheel of Time is just getting started and it is brand new, and I do get overly excited about new things. So I'm gonna let it run for a bit, and then I can definitely answer that question a little bit better, kind of thing. But yeah, so that's our top picks.
Paul, for the streaming service that I find the most difficult, and the one episode out of our streaming services, kind of hidden gems or overlooked movies, this is the one that I was looking forward to least because of the aforementioned Amazon arsing around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I'm proud of us because I really enjoyed all of those picks. You've given me stuff to watch. I'm also really proud of us because any other YouTube channel right now would be talking about Hawkeye for SEO reasons. I've said it.
Yeah.
But we're showing that no, look, we're not just ambulance chasing. We'll talk about Hawkeye when it's over, not when it's starting. That's the way real people do it, YouTube people. Also, I have set it for SEO purposes if we need it, Paul. So
Good. I'll put it under the tags. Well, which goes, yeah, that's our show tonight. Which goes, please comment down below any kind of picks that you might have that we didn't mention on either the US or UK. Just mention if they are on the US or UK. That'd be great. Which goes, what else am I missing? This is the first time that I get to do the weird sign off kind of thing. So.
okay, well, I can help you out by plugging you. Go check out Paul and friends at Homebrew Quest. Homebrew Quest is your search term on YouTube. You can also go and check out one of our great commenters who's in here right now, Pop Culture 33. Again, link in the description. Link on the homepage to both Homebrew and actually, yeah, go to our YouTube channel, because if you're looking for links to them, you also then see our little video link. Go and check out our other old videos if you have not. Some of them are actually things that we're quite proud of. Some of them are things that we're not. You go and pick them and see what you end up with. It's like a lucky dip. And while you're at it, hit like and subscribe, share, but most importantly, comment, and thank you very much for your time, because you've been awesome. Oh, happy Thanksgiving. That's right. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Yeah. I'm going to be getting my Thanksgiving groove on tomorrow, so I forgot that it's actually real time happening in America right now. Happy Friendsgiving, happy Thanksgiving, happy everything to you all.
Also, there is a podcast of friends of the show as well, which is It Takes Two, which goes, there'll be links down, friends of the show kind of thing, down below. But they do match up two movies against each other that have similar plots or similar kind of themes, which goes, it's very good. So, which goes, so, but yeah, Patrick, do you want to take us out?
I will absolutely take us out. And for Ethan, if you're watching, when we do the Disney Plus version of this, we'll be plugging a lot of your publications. Don't worry, because we have another listener who's not related to Amazon at all, but very much related to Disney Plus. So, Paul, with all that being said, everybody go watch Space Truckers and Young Frankenstein now. I've been Patrick.
And I've been Paul.
And we've been Heroes Out.
Bye.
Bye. You have all the buttons this time.
I know.
You have to do all the clicking.
Yeah. You can say
I'll do the waving.
All right. Bye.
You're just gonna leave me with? Oh, don't be mean.
No, we're going now. Bye.
We could be gone, folks. This is where the joke starts, because he's probably stopped it, and I'm still talking and waving.
No, we're still on.
He can wait like 10 minutes.
Okay. Bye.